Good morning and welcome. You're with us here on Market Opening here on Business Today. Let's take a look at all that's making headlines. Of course, it's all about the trade deal, the mega trade deal, the one we've all been waiting for. Markets already seeing a 1,000-point gap up in pre-open. Lots of action expected today. Let's take you through the headlines. The announcement of the India-US trade deal could be the trigger the stock market has been waiting for. Dalal Street set for a gap-up opening with fading trade tensions likely to bring back foreign investors. Fund managers see the deal as a catalyst for global investors to return to India after the worst January in 10 years. Rupee set for a big rebound. Days ago, it was flirting with the record low of 92 a dollar. Analysts see it recovering to 90 because of an expected increase in FII flows and export remittances. The US trade deal brings tariffs on Indian products to 18%, the lowest among its top ASEAN export competition, lower than the textile hubs of Bangladesh and Pakistan, and much lower than 34% imposed on China. It's a boon for Indian exporters who have been in limbo for over a year, takes the fiscal pressure off the government as well. Analysts warn a lot remains unexplained so far in the US-India trade deal. Will India completely halt Russian oil imports? When and how will the tariffs be reduced? Government is likely to talk about the fine print in Parliament very soon. And Boeing 787 Dreamliner faces what happened to the AI 171 flight on takeoff 6 months ago. As well, we'll tell you more about that on the show. Well, the moment the markets have been waiting for, and the trade deal finally reaching conclusion, done and dusted. Dalal Street is on fire. History has been made overnight as India and the US seal a landmark trade agreement, sending a powerful signal to global markets. The 50% reciprocal tariff on Indian exports has now been slashed to 18%. That's the lowest among major export competitors, lower than Bangladesh, Pakistan, and far below China's steep 34%. Now, this is not just diplomacy, it's game-changing. It's going to see an economic breakthrough. And for more on this, we're joined by Karishma Sudani. Let's get into the nitty-gritties of the deal. The gift Nifty is flashing a massive signal. Huge gap up on the Nifty at this point of time. The Josh is sky high. Karishma, good morning. Okay, we'll go back to Karishma in just a moment. But sentiment is euphoric right now. Confidence flooding back. Shell, good morning to you as well, and let's take a look at the markets and the kind of gap up we're seeing. Remember, today is also expiry. Will the market manage to maintain this gap? How is it looking?
Good morning to you, Abha, and all is forgotten and all is forgiven. This gap up should be a trend day. Remember, today it's the weekly expiry of the Nifty. Lots of people are short in the market. They will cover after the gap up, and then you will see a trend day, the index most likely to end at its day's high at 3:30 p.m. Keep an eye out on textile stocks. Yeah. Keep an eye out on auto defense plays like Bharat Forge. Remember, they sell a lot of parts to the US market. Keep an eye out on the entire IT pack. We also need a clarification on H-1B visas, which should be coming a little shortly. And this is what we've been waiting for the last 18 months or so. Let's hope the rupee also gives us strength, and that's the point when FIs probably will pause in their selling mode. So this is a very, very strong momentum that we are looking at right at the beginning. A gap up, death to bears, and then moving on the way up.
Okay. We're going to go to Dr. Ajay Sahai in just a moment, but let me first bring in Karishma just to give us the major details of the trade deal, the contours, what's been announced, coming in late last night. Karishma, very exciting for the markets, immediate reaction. We're just counting down to open now. But tell us really what this means. We're, of course, anticipating fund flows back into India as well. Huge confidence returning. What are the key contours of the deal?
Last night, Abha, I was sharing it with our other colleagues that it's too early to celebrate. But when Ambassador to India, Mr. Gore, had on India today, in fact, mentioned that the total tariff now comes down to 18%, irrespective of reciprocal or punitive, definitely makes for a great deal and sets the fundamentals and path for what's about to come between United States of America and India, we really need to watch out for how markets react after the mini slump that they've had because of the budget announcement. I think this definitely comes as a ray of hope. But what we need to understand is the fine print, because the fine print needs to clarify on the exceptions that were a part of this tariff with pharmaceuticals and other such auto components. As a part of the sensitive sectors. So we need to check what is the fine print about and how will India analyze it. Sources have told us that Commerce Ministry has started to already work on details, but we're yet awaiting an official document basis on the tweet and the communication that has come in from even Prime Minister Modi's office. They're trying to understand what works in our favor and what does not. But clearly, definitely is a good signal towards a trade deal and coming at a time where the
All
exporters have
right.
been taking the blow.
All right, Karishma, thanks so much for joining us with that, and we'll keep coming back to you for more on this. I've also got Dr. Ajay Sahai with us, DG and CEO of FIEO, on this historic deal. Ajay, good morning. Let me get your perspective. Markets are, of course, euphoric, and I think the key line to take away also is clarity. We've been waiting for this deal since towards the end of late last year. It was expected to come, and I think almost the markets had given up hope of seeing any kind of resolution on this front, and a lot has been hanging in the balance, especially for exporters. What's your reaction to the deal this morning?
In fact, it's an extremely positive development. We were waiting for this deal to happen. We were so far yet so near and so far also, but finally it has
Exactly.
happened. It's a very good development. I'm pretty sure that our exporters will be much pleased now. They have the deal with EU, they have the deal with US, and probably we are now entering a problem of plenty. Very good sign for the export sector. And in the traditional sectors of exports where we were hit because we were having a high tariff of 50%, our competitors were having a tariff of 18 to 20%. Now we will be competing with them. And in fact, if you look into the countries, except with UK, EU, Japan, and South Korea, we are best placed in terms of the tariff. So probably we are looking to push our exports into the US market. The good thing is that for some of the sector, particularly in apparel and footwear, the order for the next seasons have been deferred by the foreign buyers. They were waiting for deal to happen, and those orders will
Yeah.
also flow to India. So we are looking into huge jump in India's exports, and at the same time, we are also looking into importing more from the US. We are already importing a lot of energy products and probably defense, aviation. Other sectors will be added to that. We are looking into balancing of the trade also with the US. And I would like to thank the two top leadership and our Commerce and Industry Minister for working out this deal. And this will pave the way for cementing India's relationship with the US also.
So, as you said, Ajay, right now you're spoiled for choice between all the mega trade deals that have been signed. And I think in terms of a fillip for exporters, the government couldn't have done anything else, in the sense that this is really now all systems go in terms of the various options and the kind of orders you can look at. You said that a lot of orders had been deferred. Give us a sense of the kind of traction you anticipate now to kick in, and how much more of a fillip, given the kind of slash on those tariffs that we've seen. What's the kind of reaction or the manifold impact that we could see in terms of growth, numbers, orders going forward?
In fact, in sectors, as I told you, in apparel and footwear sectors, the order for the summer seasons were put on hold. Those orders will flow to India. That is on one part of that. Secondly, since our tariffs are very competitive now, we will look into pushing more exports to the US. Despite this high tariff, India's export to the US between April to November was up by around 11.4%. So probably we need to build on the momentum now. We will have the option of
Okay.
diversifying, de-risking our exports also. And I think probably the time has come where the industry needs to invest more in the business for expanding the business, because you have markets opening up and probably you need to augment your protection to take care of those markets.
Sure. Dr. Ajay, when does the 18% cut come into effect by? Would you have any knowledge on that?
We expect it to happen very soon. Probably we are waiting for the executive order to come. And once the executive order comes, the final nitty-gritty will be known to us. But the sheer fact that tariff has come down so drastically is giving a lot of optimism to the Indian export sector.
Okay, do stay with us, Karishma. Let me bring you back in here as well. And I'll, of course, also bring in Shell as we count down to opening. But Karishma, in terms of what you're hearing as well from your sources, from the various exporters and industry associations that you're speaking to, what's the overarching sentiment? I know that you were saying it's too soon to celebrate on the until we have the fine print, but the general consensus from what we can see and the way markets are ready to respond to this does seem to be overwhelmingly positive.
For a lot of exporters, and coming at a time where the trade numbers have also taken a slight hit. If we talk about the month of December, as per India's Commerce Ministry data, we had a close to $6.65 billion trade with the US, but comparatively we were on an average of say $7 billion at least in 2024. So this minor downfall was because of the sentiment in terms of the 50% tariff, and this is also one of the reasons why Indian budget just 2 days ago rolled out important key relief measures for its labor-intensive sectors. While Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that they're nothing to do with the tariffs, but directly or indirectly, they do have an impact to cushion the economy in a way that the exporters are not hit. On ground, currently optimistic, but I'd reiterate what you said and what I've been saying, that maybe too early to celebrate. Let's wait for the fine print and let's understand the nitties and gritties of it.
I think Karishma, markets just need a reason to celebrate. So, but let me just bring you the Prime Minister's commentary as well. And remember, in February last year, he'd said the US and India had set a target of doubling their bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030. The two nations had also said that they would work together on artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and focus on establishing strong supply chains for strategic minerals. Listen into this.
आज हमने द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को 2030 तक 2 गुना से भी अधिक बढ़ाकर $500 बिलियन तक पहुंचाने का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है। हमारी टीमें एक पारस्परिक लाभकारी ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को शीघ्र संपन्न करने पर काम करेगी। भारत की ऊर्जा सुरक्षा सुनिश्चित करने में हम ऑयल तथा गैस ट्रेड को बल देंगे। ऊर्जा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में निवेश भी बढ़ेगा। न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी क्षेत्र में हमने
All right, we have both Shell as well as Dharmesh Kant with us to track the market opening. And Shell, just coming to you first, because we're just counting down to opening bell. It's looking incredibly good today. And as you said, we're already hitting all-time highs just in the pre-open, likely to end at those levels at 3:30 as well. Just take us through what we can anticipate counting down to opening bell.
So, auto stocks such as Sona Comstar and Bharat Forge, as also Balkrishna Industries, they get a lot of money coming in from the US. The entire IT pack, Abha, the top gainer is the IT index. You'll have a blowout on banks because exporters will be benefited because of this trade deal. Therefore, banks will have it a little easier. Chemical stocks, all those who get their revenue from chemical from the US, like Camlin Fine, Aarti, Glaxy, Surfactants. I have a crisis of plenty in the morning. Bears are going to be taken to the cleaners.
It is so good to see this just a couple of days after the budget mayhem. And the Nifty 54% higher. What a fantastic move we're seeing on opening. We haven't seen these kind of opening levels in a very long time. This is clearly historic. You're also seeing the rupee surging on the trade deal, and that's also incredibly important given the kind of pressure we were seeing on the currency till now in light of all this uncertainty. A clear move on the currency, jumping 1.11 versus the dollar, strengthening rupee this morning, and the Nifty up over 4%. So the rupee at 90.4 to the dollar versus Monday's close of 91.51. clear, sharp up move on the currency today, breaking free of all that uncertainty, all that pressure on the back of waiting for this trade deal to come through, and the kind of uncertainty the entire export sector was seeing. Surge on the currency, surge on the index this morning. Let's take a look at the Nifty as well. 700 points up, 25,800. Clear recovery from the losses of 2 days ago, but also just a fantastic reaction to the trade deal coming through. This was the big fillip that markets were waiting for. We've been waiting for a clear trigger to come in for the markets, something to get momentum back, and this is it, with all that uncertainty being wiped off the charts. 25,785, almost 3% higher right now, 700 points. Remember, it is expiry. We do expect to see some of the shorts build up before the markets also continue to trend higher later in the day. Nifty opening up over 1,000 points. Biggest ever gap up open. We're watching history in the making this morning on the back of the US-India trade deal. And the way that India has gone about sealing this deal with the US, also being applauded by global analysts, saying that this is very comprehensive, come about very calmly, and really we've come back with securing the best tariff cut amongst all the other regions and competitors right now. So you've had the EU-India trade deal, you've had now the US-India trade deal, and exporters are clearly thrilled with what they're seeing and the kind of options that are going to be opening up for them. As Dr. Ajay just said, this is likely to be in the floor, executed pretty much immediately. That's also, of course, lending to the euphoria. Ajay, I want to get your take on the currency as well, because it really seems to be all systems go now for exporters.
No, in fact, I think Indian currencies from here should strengthen because we will slow much flow of dollar, and the mismatch between demand and supply to a large extent will be addressed. Exports will perform very well, and therefore the supply side of the dollar will be augmented. So I expect the rupee to strengthen. In fact, rupee has depreciated beyond a point, and in fact, if you look into the global currency, probably we have depreciated much, and therefore from here we should try to strengthen the currency.
Fantastic. I just want to mark gold and silver too, because remember, we're now entering a risk-off zone. So just given, of course, the kind of drubbing they've seen recently as well, maybe they knew before the markets did in terms of what was to come. We're definitely going to see an impact on gold and silver as well, and we'll just show that on the charts for you. But Dharmesh, good morning. Let me get your reaction to this historic deal, and more than that, to the kind of historic up move we're seeing on opening today.
Yeah, very good morning, Abha. I mean, it's not a good morning, it's a very good morning for the market after a long while. So last 1.5 years had been quite painful for the markets. So but this deal is coming. I mean, now everything gets settled. The European trade deal is done. US tariff deal is now getting settled, and settled in favor of India compared to our competitors or the neighboring countries. And this is coming on the background of a budget, which to my mind was excellent budget. And we have actually yesterday morning openly or vocally advise all our clients to go long if there is some correction. Fortunately, the market obliged us. I think going forward, it will be again back to the valuation game, stock specific plays, and earnings outside the Nifty 50 index has been quite robust. Around 320 companies aggregate has posted 16% YoY PAT growth. This is after taking into account the labor code related, provisions which has been made into the PNL. So I think overall, the sentiments needed a boost, which we have got through. Let's wait for the fine lines. I mean, how the deal goes through. Section 232 is critical here for the auto and auto component companies. And what is the final rates being laid out there has to be seen. But apart from that, gems, jewelry, textile, sculpture, art and architecture, all MSME plays are in for a good buying traction. It's a buying market and cherry picking market from here on.
Absolutely. Look at the auto index. 3% higher, Nifty Financial Services 3% higher. It's gains all around. Look at the gains on your screen right now. Indocount, Kitex, Gokuldas. In fact, Indocount, all of these have about 70% exposure to the US. So fantastic reactions coming in this morning. Shail, as you were saying earlier as well, we're going to be spoiled for choice. And as Dharmesh is saying, it's a buyer's market out and out this morning.
Abha, look at the 20% circuits, and it's a very easy read. Textile, KPR Mills, up 20%, 1,030. Look at Avalon Technologies, it's get 57% of its revenue from the US. A circuit up 20. Avanti Feeds, exports shrimps to the US, 20% up. Look at Camlin Fine, this is something that had marked. Look at Kitex, look at Yasho Industries, Wellspun Living, Apar Industries, all of them up between 17 to 20%. Himmat Singh Seede up 18%. So this is the kind of gains that we are seeing at opening quotes. Remember, now after this opening quote is through till tomorrow, because you have a circuit, you will see further buying. At the moment you have 25,800, which is with the bulls. This is up 700 points on the Nifty, 763. Small cap index is up 3.5%. So that's a very big plus. More importantly, you have a very strong move coming into Indian IT, which is going to be perhaps the biggest beneficiary, because corporate boardrooms will see some changes in the US, and the GCC trade a 21%, a 21-year tax holiday in the budget. So keep an eye out on the Nifty IT index as well.
It's 3% higher right now. We're just seeing phenomenal gains across the board. Broader markets, mid-cap index as well, looking incredibly strong right now. We've got banks on fire, IT on fire. Dharmesh, it's just gains all around this morning. Where would you perhaps look to place your bets if you were looking to buy today?
Stock specific kind of an IT play, where it's more of engineering, research and development and pure software plays out there, because software is going through a big transition. So for me, it's more of a mid and small cap there. I think Tata Technologies, Orion Pro Solutions, Gensor Technologies, all merits again there, where the numbers were good and the traction seems to be quite good going forward. At the same time, banks, proxy to the economy, everything looks in favor of them. The only worry was that because of the extra debt borrowing in the budget, the yields will go up, and because of that, they would have an impact on the other income basket, the treasury side, which I think today gets also settled with the rupee, appreciation coming into play. So banks definitely merits again. Again, I would be going from here on the private sector banks, and there I think IndusInd Bank and Axis Bank merits a very good case out there. Apart from that, our structural defense and railway plays on. Because see, if you look at the defense expenditure, it went up by 21%, and the execution itself from last year allocation to this year execution was up more than 14%. So there's a thematic structural play in the making. Any declines out there should be bought into, and the top two picks are there, HL and BL. So it's an outright buy market, and if you are sticking out the good companies, good sectors, I think there's nothing to lose out here. It's a market trading. I mean, tomorrow there may be some cool off, but again, that's a part of the market. If you're looking at 3 months, 6 months down the line, all the macro tailwinds are now in favor of India.
Lots to choose from there. Ajay, I just want to ask you about the implementation again and the kind of cut that we've seen from 50 to 18 on tariffs, for the viewers that have just tuned in as well. Also, the removal of the oil penalty, lots of key factors stacking up. When you see this being implemented, any details on how and the kind of time frame, like we were discussing earlier, in terms of when we start to see the impact on ground and on growth?
I'm expecting that to be announced very quickly. We may see the executive order to be out today, and if that happens, we have to see the effective date of implementation. But I'm pretty sure the kind of tweet which the US president has just released, probably this is giving an indication that it will put into operation as early as possible.
All right, fantastic. Ajay, thanks for giving us your perspective and, just sharing the kind of euphoria that we're seeing from the industry as well this morning. Shell, I feel like it's a morning where everyone's going to be spoiled for choice, not just in terms of pockets to invest in, because everything is on fire today, but even gold and silver are continuing their up move. It looks like it's all systems go. We've got the budget behind us. The trade deal has also come in. Really could, not sure, we should have asked for something else, Shell, as well. So, just ticked off all of those points in the first and second week of Feb. Yes.
Yeah, that's true, Abha. But the fact is, a great overhang, a Damocles sword has been taken off the neck. You have a deal with the US yesterday night, and one last week from EU. These are India's two largest trade partners. A lot of bilateral deals are happening. Remember the one with the UK as well. So, this sentiment that was there because of consistent FIIs selling Let's hope it eases a bit. Nobody's asking the FIs to start buying tomorrow because there's no earnings growth, so to say. But let's see whether they pause the selling thing or not. 41,000 crores was withdrawn on a net basis on the monthly January sales figure by FIs. Let us see what February holds. But for the moment, record highs on Shriram Finance, record highs on Axis Bank, on State Bank of India, City Union Bank, Karur Vyasa, ICICI AMC, MTAR Tech, Jindal Stainless, and so many other things.
Wow. I mean, we're seeing up moves of like 6, 7, 8% across the board on index counters. It's phenomenal. Bajaj Finance up 6%, Eternal up 5%. This really is historic. Go ahead, Shell. Yes.
One thing I wanted to point out was the first 15 minutes are very critical at this point of time because they will decide the trend for what the Nifty is going to be. So the high and low of the 15-minute candle for the moment is 26,341, which is just a fresh record that we are looking for, and the low at the moment is 25,772. Let's see how this shapes up, and a move below the low will be profit booking, above the high will be a trend day. Let us see how it pans out. But this is 15 minutes where institutions will set the pace, what to do beyond 9:30. Abha.
Okay, fantastic. I think the mood is set for the market today, and we'll keep on top of that. We'll also continue to track any kind of reaction on crude going forward. Right now, it's quiet. I think markets are just digesting all the news right now, but we'll see if any kind of impact comes on the oil and gas pocket as well as we move along. Right now, it's all kind of green, whether it's precious metals, whether it's the index, whether it's broader markets, and we're seeing historic moves on the back of the US-India trade deal finally coming through. It's a fabulous, fabulous Tuesday morning. We had the budget on Sunday. Markets not too happy with that STT surprise, but overall a budget geared towards growth, also placing India on the global map. And today, with the trade deal being signed, I think we further cemented that position. It's looking really good this morning, and as we were discussing earlier, looking forward to seeing a really good high on closing as well. We'll be back with that later in the afternoon. Thanks so much for watching.